Hey there, Melaminah here. Welcome back to My Bikini Competition Journey. This is episode number 45, 4 PT exercises that I'm using to rehab my back. So in this week's episode, I'm going to talk about all 4 of those. And I've been seeing a physical therapist now for a couple of weeks. And it's interesting, as the initial trauma from the original injury has kind of subsided a little bit and healed a little bit, I'm noticing that I'm starting to feel sensations and pain in other areas of the body. So now it's not really the low back, whereas when it first started, it was like the whole entire across the low back. And now it's like not really there at all anymore. Now, all of the pain and sensations that I'm feeling are more localized in the glute. So in a previous episode, I had talked about that I've been injured in the glute before. It's actually, I tore the glute medius a little less than 20 years ago. And so I'm starting to feel some pain like in the glute medius area again, and then kind of down into the gluteus maximus. I'm also feeling a little bit of pain in the top of the hamstring and sometimes like in the front hip flexor area and a little bit kind of on the side like IT band area as well. And this is all focused on the right side of the body. So in working with my physical therapist, he's given me 4 exercises to do at home, and I'm supposed to do them 3 days a week, and I think each one I'm supposed to do like for 2 rounds. So I want to kind of show just a little bit closer area that I'm talking about. So I'm going to stand up real quick and just kind of point out. I'm pretty sure you know where these areas are, but I want to just kind of point them out a little bit more closely. So the glute medius is like up in this area here. And then the gluteus maximus, I think everyone is pretty familiar with. That's the big muscle of the butt. So yes, I kind of have busted my ass again. No pun intended. And then the hamstring, let me move this down a little bit more. The hamstring is this muscle here, the back of the leg. So I'm kind of feeling it in the top part here. And then the hip flexor is the front of the leg. So I'm feeling it more like in this part as well. And then a little bit kind of on this side. And then the IT band is this like area down here. It goes all the way from the hip all the way down to the knee. And a lot of people who are runners get that part of the area, that part of their body gets really tight really easily. And then for anyone who sits for a really long period of time, that location can get pretty tight as well. So I think that's a pretty common spot. I know definitely when I was teaching a lot of yoga, that was an area where people were always like really tight and wanted some relief in that area. So just kind of wanted to pinpoint where I'm feeling the most sensation and some pain right now. So here are the 4 exercises that my physical therapist has given me to do 3 times a week. They are, number 1, the Capt'n Morgan with hip abduction. No, it's not the rum. I totally wish that it was. Number 2 is the bird dog. And in yoga, we call this a spinal balance. Number 3 is the 90-90 switch bridge flow. Number 4 is the Clam Shell with resistance bands. So I'm going to go through all 4 of these, and let's get started. All right, so because I am already doing a whole bunch of strength training, I don't really need to do a whole lot of exercises that are going to build strength in these areas. Not in the big muscles anyway. So the 4 exercises that my physical therapist has given me are more, the idea is to help build stability in the surrounding muscle groups and the smaller muscle groups around the larger muscles that I'm already targeting when I'm doing my gym workouts. So this is number 1. This is the Capt'n Morgan. So technically it's supposed to be done with a ball, but I don't have a ball. So I have been using a foam roller. And you put the roller or the ball up against the wall. And here's where that Capt'n Morgan part comes in, where you're kind of, pretending like you're standing on a barrel. And yes, this is Gracie putting her 2 cents in as well. So it's the Capt'n Morgan with hip abduction. So you're pressing into the ball, or in my case, the roller. So you are getting a little bit of glute, especially glute med activation. And we're gonna do 2 sets of 30 reps apiece. So, so as I'm doing the rolling, I'm also actively pushing out into the roller, into the wall, so it helps to create that activation. And then I'm getting additional activation on the standing leg, just because I'm using that standing leg to create stability. So I've already done that leg. We're gonna switch over to the other side and do the second leg as well. All right, and we'll do 2 sets of that, 2 sets of 30. Okay, so exercise number 2 is bird dog. And again, like I said in yoga, we just call this a spinal balance. So I actually have a variation that I'm supposed to do, which is you extend the arm and the opposite leg, and then you would press out to the side. And we're gonna do 10 of those on each side and 2 rounds each as well. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So hands under shoulders, you want to spread the fingers nice and wide and kind of grip the floor so that you protect your wrist. You can also always make fists if the wrists start to bother. So what we're going to do, we'll have knees under hips, lightly tuck the pelvis in, and then it's the left arm with the right leg, and then out to the side. And you can start to feel that glute activation there as well, especially in the glute medius. And then back down. And then other side and out. So that's 1. We'll do 10 of these. All right, that's 10. So the other thing you want to do when you're going through the movement is stabilize through the core. So we want to really make sure that we're not like tilting over to the side or anything like that. Want to keep the spine as nice and straight as possible, really engage the core, and then go through the movement, just moving the limbs. So that was a little rest, and now I've got 1 more set of 10 of these, and then we'll be done with this one. All right, done with those. Those were bird dog. All right, so exercise number 3 that my physical therapist has given me is the 90-90 bridge flow. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the legs in a 90-degree position, both of them. So 90 degrees with the front leg, approximately 90 degrees with the back leg. And then we're gonna press up into a bridge. And just by pressing the hips forward, I can already feel like some activation in the glutes here. And then we'll sit down and then switch the legs. So now the opposite leg is in front at a 90 degree, and the other leg is also at a 90 degree in the back, and then we'll press up again. And whoo, I really feel it in this glute here, and then back down. So we'll do 10 of these on each side, so 20 total. And then we'll rest and do a second set. Okay, that is the first set down, and I gotta tell you, on the hard floor, these don't feel great on the knees and the ankles and like all the bony areas, but what are you gonna do? I mean, I guess I could double up on my mat or whatever, but it's not for that long, so you know, I just kind of suffer through it. So, okay, that was our first set. We got one more set of 10 on each side, so 20 total. Okay, that is our last set, and then let's move on to our fourth and final exercise. Okay, so our fourth exercise is going to be a lying down clamshell with resistance bands. So I bought these resistance bands in El Paso at Walmart when I was there, when I was tending to my dad right before he passed, and the gym that I was going to did not have bands. So you can get these pretty much anywhere. Like I said, I got these at Walmart. It was a pack of 3, and they come with different strengths. And I think this was like $7 for all 3 of them. So they're okay, but they're a little bit big, so they don't give as much resistance as I would like. This is the heaviest one. It's a 4 out of 5, and this one is medium, 3 out of 5. So I like to double up on them and use those together. So we're just gonna put these right above the knee and then lay down. And we want to, I like to rest my head on my arm, and then we want to make sure that the body is like kind of at a 90-degree angle. So the knees are not too far forward, because that's just too much, and then not too far back either. We don't want to like pinch the low back. So a little bit, just barely ahead of the hips, but we want to keep the body as straight as possible. And we're going to do 10 of these, 10 reps for 2 sets apiece on each side. So here we go. And then we want to keep the heels together, and we're just pulling the knees apart, and I can again feel it in that kind of outer hip area, kind of glute medius, glute minimus. So again, we're doing that to kind of target the smaller muscle groups to create stabilization. So I'm going to flip over to the second side. Actually, maybe I'll do it from the back. So from here, you can kind of see what it looks like from the back side. So lay my head down, and then 10. So heels together. All right, that was 10. So I want to try to get that full range of motion. You know, knees together, and then all the way up as high as I can go, get that full range. And also want to stabilize through the core as we're doing that as well. And then here's our last set. Whew, okay, feel that burn. So this particular exercise I have actually added in to my warm-up. Well, I've kind of substituted it out. So I used to have one warm-up where it was with the bands, and it was a glute activating warm-up, but it was seated. And it was that same kind of like knees open sort of deal. But when I was talking to my physical therapist, he said that it's better to do it lying down, because then you're fighting gravity as you're opening the knee up, and that actually creates a better activation in the muscle. So that's what I've started doing. All right, so that was exercise number 4, the clamshell with resistance bands. All right, so there you go. Those are the 4 exercises that I'm currently doing as part of my home physical therapy. And one more time, they are the Capt'n Morgan with hip abduction. Number 2, the bird dog. Number 3, 90-90 switch bridge flow. And number 4, clamshell with resistance bands. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and just as a friendly reminder, here's my disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I am not a physical therapist. If you're experiencing pain anywhere in your body, make sure that you talk to your healthcare professional and get professional advice on what you should be doing. Anyhow, thank you so much for joining me in my bikini competition journey. Questions, comments, concerns, interpretive dances, feel free to pop them in the comments section below, or you can DM me on Instagram. I am at Melaminah. I will see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.